Hello, hello, hello. This is Steven and Connie Jacks at Beyond the Listing, and we're interviewing Jason Thomas, luxury home builder here in Birmingham, and you're going to hear all this right now. Jason Thomas, man, it's been a minute.
It has been approximately a minute.
It's good to have you here. Thank you for coming to the podcast. I know you're a busy man. We just really felt like the world needed to hear your story. How you got into luxury building. I mean, you were basically, and I've always told you this, like, I think that you're like a low-key genius when it comes to like design and like, you pour your heart and soul into a house and you don't stop thinking about it until the job's done.
That's right.
So for the world, where exactly are you from? Like, and I guess let's just start there. Like, what was your upbringing like?
Born and raised in Coleman County.
Okay.
On a farm. Went to college at Stanford University in Birmingham. Graduated there and have lived in Birmingham since 2002.
How did you get into design? I heard a story that you said that you had drew a house one time when you were little, and somehow this house was built.
In the it's either fourth or fifth grade. I can't recall exactly. I've always naturally been able to draw, and I drew the blueprints to my parents' home that they actually used to build back in like 1995. And, of course it made, all kind of headlines and whatnot.
Right.
And, but I've always been able to draw. I've never done art classes. I've just naturally been able to pick a pencil up, and it's always homes. I can't draw people. I can't draw animals. I can draw architecture, anything, just naturally. And, I think that's what I incorporate into the homes that I do today. Yeah.
So you sit around all day long, doodle houses,
dream up ideas. Yeah. It never stops. I wake up, it turns on, it stays on until I go to sleep.
Man.
And I know that you have designed and redesigned. It's never quite finished, is it?
No. You have to call a stopping point at some point. A home can always evolve.
Yeah.
And once it's finished, I could redo it again.
Yeah.
And then again. And you just have to, that's the hardest part for me, is to draw the red line and stop.
Yeah. So what does that process look like? Kind of take us through maybe even your first flip, and we can kind of get into that, what the process looks like now. But I think the very first thing that got you into what you're doing now, like how did that start?
Well, so the very first flip in Greystone, I'd been in the car business and lived in Gardendale for 4 or 5 years, made really good money and wanted to upgrade, from where I was living. Had a brand new home in Gardendale that was nice, but I had friends that lived in Greystone, and one of them was a real estate agent, and I told him, help me find a home, somewhere. And he said, you need to move to Greystone. And I was like, I don't want to be anywhere near 280. He took me to one house and I bought it and didn't negotiate. It's just fell in love with it immediately. And it's not the house that I fell in love with, because the house at the time was old and ran down and just not attractive. But I didn't see it as it was. I saw it as what it could be. From the moment I saw it, that evening, I went home and started drawing the home. And it's like I have a photogenic memory. I can walk through and just memorize a layout on a home and then recreate it on my own, basically instantly. And came up with all these different ideas and whatnot. put an offer in on the home. They accepted, purchased it, moved into it, renovated, and it's more than it was. I would call it a reinvention more so than a renovation. Added on a lot to it. I didn't even realize I had a lake behind the home when I purchased it. It was so wooded. Found out there was a lake behind there. Mowed down the mountain. Got in a little bit of trouble.
Welcome to Greystone.
Welcome to Greystone, everybody. Hello, it's me. But just opened up incredible views that even more inspired, the creativity. And I would sit outside and just doodle and, start creating things. And then found different builders that I grew up in a family of builders as well. So I got my first cousin, Chad. He helped in the beginning to, help build the house. And then I brought in various contractors for different things. And it took a while to renovate the home. Mid-renovation, I had a terrible car accident, and the house went vacant. It was just sitting vacant for almost a year. And after I was able to get back at it and finish the renovation, it got put on the front page of Greystone Living magazine, I think 3 or 4 times. It was in 4 movies. People started coming out of California, just showing up at my door like, hey, we want to use your home in a movie. And I'm like, okay. And just got a lot of publicity that way. And I lived there from 2014 until 2020, sold it. And that home basically snowballed all the other homes that I've had since then.
So people saw your creation come to life and what you could actually do in this home. And then they were like, okay, sign me up.
Sign me up. Yeah. I can't tell you how many Greystone women came to me. I want a new bathroom. I want a new kitchen. I want this, that, and the other. And I was like, sure, But I have a lot of respect for the lady that originally built the home. Her name was Wilma Thompson, and she herself was a designer and had designed the original blueprints to the home in the early 90s when it was built. And then I had her come to the open house, and she was just in awe, taken back, and loved it. And we had she was part of the Greystone Ladies Society, or Ladies Club, and they asked to have their Christmas party there. The first year that I had it finished and was living there. So there were hundreds of people in and out the front door. So many people you could barely walk through the house, and the house was huge.
So that was your debut here.
It was my debut.
Right.
Yeah,
That is so crazy. And also, too, want to talk about the car wreck.
Yeah.
It's like you had this love for design, and you said the house, like you got into a bad car wreck and the house sat vacant, and then you jumped right back into it as soon as, you were able to. But what was that car wreck? What was that like?
It was terrible. On Labor Day 2016, I was at Smith Lake, Labor Day house party, just a bunch of friends hanging out. Sure. And it was later in the evening. We'd been out on the boat all day. During the time that I had purchased the first home, I had also purchased an unfinished new home at the lake. It was, I would say, 50% complete. And I bought it from a family friend that owns the majority of the land at the lake. So he gave me a good deal on it. I finished it out. So I lived there while I was renovating the big one. And anyway, on Labor Day, we were coming back. Everybody was hungry. There's only one place to get food at the time. It's called the Country Mall. So I'd called and ordered like a dozen pizzas for everybody. And we went to pick them up. my car was blocked in. We got into another car. The driver was a friend of a friend I'd never met before. We went to the less than 2 miles away to the gas. It was a gas station that served pizza. Picked it up, and that's where I blacked out. I don't recall anything from there, but they have on video surveillance the car just burning rubber, spinning out. It was a high-powered Mercedes. And the driver attempted suicide with
while you were in the vehicle,
front passenger. Yes,
picking up pizza.
And it's the first day I'd ever met the guy, and I didn't think anything about it because we'd hung out all day. And he's a friend of a friend, and I had another friend in the back seat that had graduated Sanford with me. He was a Army lieutenant. And the driver of the vehicle floored it. It was a S63 Mercedes, and I don't even know how many horsepower they have, but a lot, too much. And it was about a mile and a half stretch until the road made a 90-degree turn. And in the turn, there's a parking lot right beyond the turn, and at the end of the parking lot is a church. The driver basically sped as fast as he could and ran head on into the church.
Oh my gosh!
And which shattered my vertebrae. I know it's medical terminology is L1, L2, it's lower lumbar and the sacral nerves, and it's called a spinal burst fracture, which basically the bone in my spinal cord blew up and sliced my spinal cord, which caused permanent damage. So I have like no feeling in my legs still. And on paper, I'm supposed to be in a wheelchair. And, doctors don't know how I'm walking, and I don't know how I'm walking. But I've retaught myself.
Man, that's incredible.
And so that was mid-renovation on the first house. And I thought that I was going to have to sell the house unfinished. And
right. Because, obviously anybody would think that,
Well, I was in the hospital for a year, just about. We were there so long that my dad, at the time I owned the car dealership, and both my parents helped run it. And me and my dad got an apartment across the street from UAB because I had appointments every day at UAB, all day. It was like going to school. You'd get there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you would leave at, it would take, except it was longer than school. It would last until about 5 in the evening. And it was therapy, and I'd go to the Lakeshore Foundation to water therapy, and it was a bad time.
And I know you haven't talked much about it, especially since we've known you the past few years, and just now it's kind of something that you've shared, on social recently. But I think that your story is, first of all, a miracle. But
it is a miracle.
So inspiring to so many people that you jumped right back in and kept going.
Yeah. No, I have chills right now.
Yeah.
Like,
even at the hospital, there's videos of me that my parents took. I had, at 27, I opened up World Class Motors in Gardendale, and this was 5 or 6 years into the business. So the business was thriving. It's been open. Everybody knew it was there. Extremely busy. I was the buyer. I bought all the inventory. I also did a lot of the sales. But even in the hospital, I had my parents bring my computer from work to the hospital, set it up so I could sit. I was sitting there in a wheelchair, barely able to move, but I was still purchasing inventory like every other day on a live auction. And while also drawing on my iPad, ideas for the first Greystone flip. And it's it's hard.
Yeah.
Do you think that kept you going though?
It did.
Yeah.
It kept my mind off of it, because I think that a lot of people would have sat and just dwelt on the fact of being paralyzed.
Right.
I never really, doctors told me and told my parents that I was paralyzed from the waist down and I'd never walk again. And to be told that, I can't explain how it felt, but it's like I immediately moved my mind away from that and focused totally on, business. And, I did what the doctors would say. And then I would, what free time I had, which is not a lot, but I would be drawing, and, they would let me out of, it's like they had me captive at Spain rehab, but they would let me out for 2 hours a day. Those 2 hours, I would go to Greystone. My dad would take me to Greystone. I would go to the house. He would get the wheelchair out of the back of the car, help me. I had to they had a slide board. I was so immobile that I had to use a plastic slide board that we even had to get a different car that was level. The seat was level with the wheelchair so that he could open up the passenger door and me slide from the seat over into the wheelchair because I just couldn't move.
Right.
But the home, it was on a hillside, so it was basically built and dropped off on the back on both sides. It didn't have an elevator, so I immediately began wondering, how I was going to be able to move about the house, because it was my dream home. I bought the home with intentions of staying there forever, and was renovating it as such, and then immediately thought that I had just lost it, and was going to have to give it up because I couldn't get around it.
Sure.
But I kept it. Like I said, it was tore up. It didn't even have a front door on it. I had, right before the accident, I had it had a 2-story arch front door that I had removed, and then the new one was ready to install, but it just laid on the ground for a year. And who knew? Animals and birds, everything that you could think of was in the house.
Right.
And
so your dream home
people,
was basically just
it was just
sitting vacant,
and people coming and going, and there's nothing in it, but still, I don't know how many people was in and out of it, but I stayed focused on it.
Right. So, here you are pretty much at one of the darkest moments of your life, don't know if you're going to ever be able to walk again. At some point, it was I'm not sure if I'm even going to live.
They didn't think I was going to live at first, and it I had to be airlifted out from the lake. It was very serious.
Right. It is terrifying to me to think like you're just hanging out with friends, family at the lake in a simple trip to go in and getting pizza, and your driver decides in this moment that he wants to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And drives off so fast straight into a church. Now, I've seen these pictures before. You've shown me.
Straight into the front door. But we were going so fast that the car, there was a cement wheelchair ramp going up to the porch of the front porch of the church. And the car was going so fast that it literally blew the concrete sidewalk away. It just blew it up. And then we still ended up on the porch into the wall. And I had my seatbelt on. Sean, my friend in the back seat, he had his seatbelt on. The driver did not. And somehow he lived and had the least injuries out of anybody.
So the guy that really wanted to you know,
The guy that wanted to die
that
is
he-
fine.
yeah, I mean, the guy that wanted to die, heard everybody else in the car,
Yeah.
walked away.
And then Sean had to be honorably discharged from the Army because of his injuries. And, you know, so he basically was forced to retire. And he's 3 years younger than I am.
Jeez.
So as you're completing this home and everything's unfolding in front of you, like take us there to that moment, because you know you said it took a long time for that to actually happen after you got out of the hospital. Years, I think, right? And then what does it feel like when this home particular, because I know it's a little bit different now, but when you get this home completed, like what goes on in your mind? Because you've got this very entrepreneurial spirit, and I know now, knowing you well enough that I can see how you start thinking about other things. Were you there yet? Was that kind of,
It was like,
had you begun thinking about other homes at that point?
no,
Or-
it was like a trophy home to me. It was like, I did it, you know, I completed it. It looks exactly like I envisioned it would look from the moment I saw it. And, I mean, it was everything that anybody could ever dream of in a home.
And then your debut at the Greystone Ladies Club Christmas party
Yeah. Yeah.
comes about.
Yeah.
Wait, talk to me about
And-
the Greystone Ladies Christmas party.
Of course, I went all out. You know, I got asked if I would host it, and like, sure, I'd love to. And I hired. I have friends that own a landscaping business, and they do floral and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I couldn't have everybody in Greystone in my home without just being
Right.
blown away.
Yeah.
So I think it was like 2,000 roses, a big bouquet of roses made for the foyer and throughout the home. And people, you know, not only did the home blow people away, but, you know, the decorations. And I had all my friends came in to help.
It's your design though too.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's-
It almost sounds like that's where your genius in marketing really came out, because I think if I were approached by a lady and she was knocking on my door and said, "Hey, do you care if we borrow your home to do this Greystone Ladies event?" I would say, "Sure, you know, whatever." But I think you took that as a,
I took it as
let
an
me fix
opportunity.
this up.
Yeah.
Let me get all these women in here, because I mean, who's in charge of the house?
Yeah.
The woman.
Yeah.
And you knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
And so they all come there, you impress them with your designs, you know, the roses. I mean, 10 out of 10 experience.
And it was very shortly after that I started getting phone calls from movie producers out in L.A.
Right. I remember you
And
mentioning
they're
that.
like, "Hey, I'm so-and-so producer, L.A." And I'm like,
So which movies were shot there? Do you remember? Do you remember?
one was called Inheritance. Had Chase Crawford and
Yes. And that
Lily
was on
Collins.
Netflix, right?
yeah, it's on Netflix. And then one was called Embattled. It's like I think it's called an MMA fighting movie
Wow.
type thing. And Collection was another one.
So at what point did you decide, I think it's time to sell this house?
When people kept asking me to sell it to them.
Yeah, you can only be
So
asked
money
many
talks
times,
is
right?
what you're saying.
Yeah,
So it's like,
it does talk.
Yeah.
And it I didn't realize the home was as valuable as it was when I completed it, and it essentially sold for 4 or 5 times what I paid for it, and which snowballed. You know, when I sold that home, I bought 2 others.
Right. Because that was sort of like the aha moment. You know?
That was like, if I can do this home, I can do another one. And now that I, made the money on this one, I could actually do 2 others at the same time. So that's what I did.
I love that.
I bought 2, and then two turned to 3 and 4, and it just kind of went from there.
Right.
But now it's more of, I guess, a full-time job turned into, you guys know, you sold the dealership that retired from cars after a good, 20-year run. And,
right.
Which I really enjoy, being able to spend more time with my family, because it was very time consuming. And the car business is a lot of work, a whole lot of work. And you don't just, it's not just buying cars, you're selling cars, you're dealing with, the public, and then you're servicing cars, and it's car this, car that, something always with a car, and it never stops. You multiply that times thousands of customers you sell cars to, the phone never quits ringing. Never.
Yeah.
Never, ever,
And now your parents have the opportunity to, they're going to retire, and.
Yes. So it was, when I started the car dealership, my dad, he helped me, basically run it. I ran it. He would, service the vehicles. He's a mechanic by trade. He's always done mechanical work and that kind of thing. So he ran the back, which was the service department, and I, held down the front, the showroom area and the cars. And when we had I specialized in imports, so that was kind of a shock. It was in Gardendale, and which was a shock for the town. When I had the grand opening, I opened up with a fleet of Maseratis and Aston Martins and Porsches and stuff like that most people in Gardendale.
That champagne taste you got.
Yeah, it does. They just hadn't seen before, or been around before. So that got a lot of attention, and it was very successful. Shortly after, I would say 10 months or so after starting the car dealership, the financial part of it, the money basically ran off and left me. There was more money coming in than I could keep up with, and I didn't know what to do with it. And there was bills going out and money coming in, and so my mother retired from her job that she had been there 30 years. She managed what at the time was Gold Coast Poultry, then turned it into Pilgrim's Pride. She was the higher up executive, and she had 30,000 employees. So for her to come to, run my little store,
right,
it was a cakewalk for her. But she she helped out a lot and straightened out the finances and got everything operating like it should. And she'd, do all the paperwork and bill of sales and stuff for people, and that kind of thing. But it turned into a full-time family business, which was not the intent when I opened it. It just, I'm the only child, and both my parents have always supported me in whatever I wanted to do. And so they came to support and help operate the car dealership that at the time was my dream and what I wanted to do. But now, I'm not saying they're old. They're not old. They're in their 60s. But
I think everything has a season, right? Like, you do it for so long, and and it's time to leave it where it is. It's like,
when I grew up, both of them, my mom and dad worked all the time. So my grandparents, I stayed with them the majority of the time, and grandmother raised me, grandfather, and of course I love my parents more than anything in the world, and I always miss them. And spending time with them at the dealership was great, but it became to where it was, I didn't get to spend the quality time I wanted. It was work time.
right.
And my mom, since as long as I can remember, has said, when I retire, I want to move to Belize. And I don't know why Belize, but I do. When I was a small kid, we took a cruise and ended up in Belize, and I think that's when she fell in love with it. And but it was a few years ago. I actually purchased a seafront lot and built a home for them to retire to, and then as of last week sold the car dealership, and now the plan is to spend half the time here and half the time in Belize.
Wow.
And let them enjoy retirement.
It's pretty incredible.
I don't plan on living there, full
Right.
time, but being the only child, I will be there a lot. But I still plan to, keep doing what I'm doing with the homes here. And, Greystone is, I love Greystone. And, of course, I've done Shoal Creek and Highland Lakes and, neighboring areas, but Greystone is my focus.
Yeah.
And I just like the community.
What do you see kind of in the next, 2 years as your focus? I know you're focusing on homes in Greystone, but do you have like a particular passion or direction that you're thinking like, I really want to focus on this particular area, this particular house? You have a certain number of homes. Like how does that work out in your head when you're focused? Because I know you've got a lot going on right now. So
Yeah. I don't have a particular number in my head as far as number of homes I want to do. And the thing is I only do homes that that resonate with me.
that you can get excited about.
I can get excited. If they don't excite me, I've turned work down.
Sure.
And it's not being rude or hateful or, any kind of way. It's just, that's how my brain works. If I see it and it automatically clicks, I start spinning ideas and it works out. If I see a home and it light bulb doesn't turn on, then I'm not excited about it. And, it's just, I'm not going to lie to someone and say, oh, well, let me make your house amazing, which, I would be able, I can, but it doesn't excite me. So I stay focused on homes that do. And just, they happen to be the larger homes. And, but I would say I guess the end game for me is, I really want to own a resort, my own resort. And so I am actively looking at islands. I'd like to purchase a small island in the Caribbean and develop a resort. And
very cool.
Live there.
I want to secure my spot right now.
So
Do you have a name picked out that you can share with us? Or?
I do have a name. I can't share the name. Unfortunately.
Top secret.
Top secret, but
Yeah.
it's a good one.
Well, I know it would be amazing, and I'm with Stephen on securing a spot. We'll even come work there.
Yeah,
whatever
for
we
sure.
need to do to get in.
Towels, whatever.
Serve drinks, whatever we need to do.
It's I don't know. White Lotus kind of nails it every episode they come out. I'm like, doing what I want to do.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think anybody who comes across you, Jason, and everybody that meets you, it's hard to not get excited because I think you're always, pushing the limits, stepping it up. You've already made a legacy in Gardendale. As you said, people were watching the Maseratis and Lamborghinis coming out of there. You sort of put the car business behind you. Now you're focusing full time
Real estate.
On real estate. And it's just, for me, I think it's about building that legacy. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of where you're approaching is when you're leaving that Thomas Holmes legacy in Greystone or Shoal Creek, and people want you to do their houses.
Yeah.
And those houses have to talk to you essentially for you to feel like.
And what I've
it resonates, right?
Yeah, and what I've realized with most people is most people don't know what they want. They're just clueless. They don't have any ideas. They don't they want 9 times out of 10, every time I go into someone's home that wants a remodel, they tell me the same thing. Do it like it was yours. Just fix it like it was your personal home.
I mean,
Over and over.
and I can sort of see that too, because it's like if you're going, because what you do, I see as art, and I think
It is art.
I've spoke about it in posts before on my social media page. Like Jason Thomas is pure art, and for anybody who's actually interested in art, they'll go to a museum or like an art show and walk the floor and look at the pieces. I think before they even walk in the door, they don't know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
They want the artist to sort of give them a piece. Mm-hmm. And when they're there, they decide that, hey, this is what I want to buy. And I think that's what you do essentially, is like they call you and they're like, come do your magic here at my house.
Yeah.
And you deliver.
I love to renovate them, and I also love to stage them.
Right.
Over the years, I've accumulated so much furniture. It's almost sad that I have right now 8 storage units packed to the ceiling that 30 foot long,
Yeah.
full of very fine furniture. But I get to stage the homes with it, and which I do think helps sell the homes, because it helps people visualize different concepts for different spaces and what you can do with it, and it's fun to me.
Well, it's absolutely amazing, honestly, just to watch your ideas, because we've been lucky enough to walk through some of those homes with you while we could kind of see the wheels turning, and
Yeah,
we
and I
could
think
see you get excited. And that's what it's exciting for me, because, we do so many times, like you said, show homes to people who have no idea what they want. And even though I have a feeling like this is the perfect home for them, this checks all of their boxes, they just still can't say yes or no. We walk in with you, and within the first 30 seconds, I can already tell if you're excited about it, which makes me excited about it. So it's really, really fun to kind of watch that unfold with you and hear your ideas and see you at work. And Stephen's right. It truly is an art that you have. It's a gift that you have, where you can walk into those spaces and see things unfold. And one of the other things that I wanted to touch on, because I know you've just launched lighting.
Yeah.
And your chandeliers, because that is, to me, a signature of Jason Thomas, and kind of what you do in your homes and how you bring them to life. And you've said before that chandeliers, lighting, like it's jewelry for your home.
Obviously, I like anything that sparkles, and it's
We're liking that.
yeah. And then the same thing with lighting, and you walk into a home, and it is jewelry for the home. And every home that I've ever sold has been lighting over the top. And so finally I partnered up with a lighting manufacturer. We design, produce, sell. It's called Maison Lumière Paris. And Maison Lumière means house of light in French. And all the designs are French inspired. I went to school and lived in London for a year, back in college, way before all of this. And I spent my weekends going to various palaces and castles in France, and just
right, yeah,
just fascinated by like the chandeliers and the glamour and the opulence, and I incorporate that into all my homes. And I was lucky enough. I've met a very talented artist here that he's a painter, and some of the the murals that I've seen in like Versailles Palace and Buckingham and various other places. Like in the first home, the whole living room was like a recreation of like Sistine Chapel, and people walk in and they just stand there looking up,
right?
And so even at the home I have now, which smallest home I've lived in, but even it has a mural in it, and chandeliers in every single room.
Oh, I know. If there's a room in your house, it's got a chandelier.
It's going to bling.
Yeah.
Gonna have a sparkle to it for
And
sure.
I love that it's an extension of what you offer and what you do and your design that kind of ties everything together.
You know what I love is the jewelry for the home. Is that how can that not be a slogan?
I mean, it is. It's just
Like that sounds like it belongs on.
it is jewelry for the home, and not only have I, it's a recent launch. Well, I take it back. I've been incorporating the chandeliers into my own homes for years, and then people come in and like, oh, where'd you get this? Where'd you get this? I'm like, well, I made it. And they're like, you made it? I'm like, well, I didn't personally make it. I designed it, and my people made it, and which I've sold a lot that way. Then it just kind of gave me the idea to, why not offer it for sale to the public, and so that's what I'm doing. And not only the lighting, but we're about to do like faucets, fixtures, doorknobs, shower systems, not cheap electroplated stuff you get on Amazon,
Right.
or, whatever. And there's some good stuff on Amazon too, but heavy brass, unlacquered brass, or satin brass, tons of different kind of brasses, and quality. Quality matters in homes like that. None of them
If
has
you're
sold.
building a luxury,
Yeah, I mean, you're talking a
state.
bare
You're
minimum
not going
$1 million
to
home.
You're not going to get it from Amazon, obviously.
I don't even think I've sold anything less than $2 million.
Right. And I think that's sad. It really is sad because sometimes we have been in larger homes where things just felt cheap.
Yeah, and and it's a lot of it's out of convenience, and which I don't blame people. I mean, some people want it then, want it now, and if you want one of my chandeliers, you're gonna have to wait. You have to wait for good things. It takes a minute for them to, because everything is made to order. I don't inventory it because there's thousands of options. It would be impossible to inventory, and but I do have catalogs, and so it takes time to order and deliver them. But when you get them, they're unmatched in quality.
And you have stores that are actually reaching out to you wanting the product, right?
Yep. I've recently partnered with White House Interiors here in Birmingham that will be carrying, or they already are carrying the line of lighting, and they have ordered, I don't even know, 100 something, chandeliers.
Oh my gosh.
That's going to be amazing.
It's going to be beautiful. They've already got many hanging in their store.
Well, how do people find you?
Right now, the best place for the lighting would be Instagram, Maison Lumiere _official, or Maison Lumiere Paris _official. And so Instagram, but I have a lady now is working on doing a online store for me, website and all that kind of stuff. It's not finished yet, but there will be a website.
And if they want more information on your home renovation.
Right.
I try to make that simple, although it's a very long URL address. JasonThomasLuxuryHomes.com.
Yeah, amazing.
So there's before and afters, a lot of cool stuff to look at. And that's how you can contact me, JasonThomasLuxuryHomes.com.
Well, after all of these stories of perseverance, this gift that you bring to the table,
And passion.
and passion for it
Keep going.
is really unmatched.
The passion is definitely something that I've had since I was a kid, and that's in everything I do. I don't. Well, I'm not going to cuss, but anything. If I'm going to do it, it's going to be done right.
Yes.
So,
Well, thank you so much for being
Well,
here with
thank
us.
you guys for having
We
me.
all know that to be true,
Yeah.
Jason. You don't have anything. We've enjoyed it, man. This has been really a pleasure to just sit down with you, chat.
And I am really appreciative of you guys. You guys have helped a lot, and in meeting you both over the past few years.
Isn't that bizarre?
It's bizarre that we haven't
How
run
we
into
met?
each other
I know.
before
And
then.
I agree. And how we met is actually
Yeah.
pretty a really great story too.
It is. Another day.
Another day, right?
Yeah, we're gonna tell that another day. Because I know we're running out of time, and I feel like, we could sit here for hours and talk. That's what we do.
We do. We do.
Yeah, normally we do sit here and chat for hours, but man, thank you for coming here, taking the time out of your
Thank you
busy
for having
day.
me.
And yeah, guys, that's Jason Thomas. Give him a call, give him a shout. If you have a home and you need some renovations, or if you're just thinking, I want something different,
Or you want to sell it.
this is the guy to call.
So,
That's right.
yeah, hit me up.
And we're out. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.